ESPN article that just dropped. Is this Andreas Hale again? Oh, Andreas. Our GOAT, Andreas Hale. Jake Paul's new fight wish list, Canelo Alvarez, Ryan Garcia, more. In August 2021, Jake Paul revealed a hit list of opponents he wanted to fight in his professional boxing career. Paul was 3 fights into his new quest as he sought to transition. Whoa, whoa, hey. Relax there. We making content. To transition from social media influencer to full-fledged fighter. Up until that point, Paul had fought fellow YouTuber Anisan Gabe. Shout out my boy Gabe, dude. Need him back in the scene. NBA slam dunk champion Nate Robinson and retired MMA fighter Ben Askren. Just kidding. Love you, Ben Askren. Knocking out each of them. But because of Paul's inexperience in the sweet science, his hit list read like a Christmas list written by an outrageously optimistic 8-year-old who wanted a mansion, yacht, and pet dinosaur delivered by Santa Claus. What's wrong with that? Trying to say I can't have my pet dinosaur this year? Paul may have not received a pet dinosaur. He already had the mansion and the yacht, but he was able to check off many of the dozen names on the hit list, pulling off what was thought to be unfathomable. I butchered the word, don't care. For a YouTuber with no amateur boxing experience, and according to Paul, he's just getting started. Quote, boxing fans and media thought the list was crazy, ludicrous, and impossible, Paul told ESPN. But the people inside my circle believed because we know the inner workings of boxing and how good I was getting. The inner workings of boxing. As long as I keep winning, showing improvement, and putting on big shows to become the money man in boxing, the fights would come. A lot of these fights wouldn't happen if people weren't getting paid because there's too much risk involved. Paul was scheduled to fight Gervonta Tank Davis on November 14th in an exhibition bout at the KSI Center in Miami before the fight was canceled on Monday after a civil lawsuit filed by ex-girlfriend Courtney Rozelle accused Davis of battery and aggravated battery, among other things. Had the fight happened, Davis would have been the 7th person on Paul's list of 12 desired opponents, a list that also included Conor McGregor, KSI, Canelo Alvarez, Kamaru Usman, and Paul's older brother Logan. I forgot that Usman was on the fucking list, dude. I forgot that he was like, yeah, let me get a piece of Kamaru Usman in boxing. Oh, okay. To date, he has fought Anisan Gabe, Robinson, Askren, Tyron Woodley twice, Nate Diaz, and Tommy Fury from the list. Paul has also had victories over former UFC fighters Anderson Silva, Mike Perry, and boxers like Andre August, Ryan Borland, Mike Tyson, and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. With the Davis fight off, most of the names on the list crossed off, it's time for a new set of goals for Paul. So here's the new hit list. Oh God, I see number 1. One that Paul says will keep me busy for a few years. Folks, real quick before we continue with the video, I wanted to say a quick thank you to the sponsor of today's video, First Form. That's right, guys. First Form is my go-to supplementation brand because they care more about people than they do products. They're not selling you stuff just so you have things. They are giving you a new way forward in your supplementation, making sure you get everything you want out of your health and supplementation journey. Because while you can work out every single day and you can push yourself in the gym every single day, it means squat if you don't have the right supplementation behind it. And 2 of my favorite products from First Form are the Micro Factor. This is my daily multivitamin, antioxidants, CoQ10s, probiotic, fruit and veggies. I take all these pills once a day to keep my immune system, my body feeling good, my joints lubricated. And when I am done working out, when I have pushed myself in the gym, whether it's hitting the bag, lifting weights, whatever, I go straight to my Formula 1 whey isolate protein. This will replenish all the muscles that are broken down during a workout and keep me from having that sore, deflated feeling for up to a week. I can rest well, I can get back in the gym quicker, and continue to build every single day. And just so you guys know, all First Form products are HFS certified, meaning they have been proven to be safe for your consumption by the rigorous testing possible. So folks, all I want you to do is click the link in the description and get yourself some First Form today. If you spend over $100, you're gonna get free shipping when you click the link below. And for all the products you get, if there's something you just can't get with, something that just doesn't work for you, you can try it for 30 days, send it back to First Form. You're gonna get a 110% refund within that time period. Once again, try it for 30 days. You can't stand it, which again is not gonna be the case because First Form is helping you get healthier every single day, but that's just another provision to show you how confident First Form is in their products. So click the link in the description. Thank you to First Form for sponsoring this video. And now let's get back to the breakdown. Paul took a look at his options and broke down his newest list for ESPN. Number 1, Terrence Bud Crawford, undisputed super middleweight champion of the world. Listen, I know how Jake works. I understand it. This is Jake doing the Canelo call out in 2021. He was not ready for Canelo in 2021. He's probably not ready for Canelo now, although the size difference, Canelo's slowing down. I'm not saying Jake would beat him, but it wouldn't be as bad as it would have been in 2021. Terrence Crawford, even at 38, that's a different problem right now. It's a different problem. But again, I know what he's doing. He is doing this, and part of it will be sensationalism. And Jake probably believes that he wants that smoke with Terrence Crawford and that he would do well, but he's doing this because it will get the reaction I just gave, like the laugh, the all right, buddy, but people will watch. He is the greatest at doing this, and he does operate in a unique market that doesn't keep him bound to championships and rankings and everything else that boxing usually does, because he is, as he said, a money man in this sport. He can make these outlandish claims, and before long, they may actually happen, as outlandish as they possibly are. I'm telling you, Canelo and Jake was that close to happening. That close. Okay, next we have KSI, YouTuber turned boxer. They could not have got a better still shot of KSI. This one is realistic, at least in terms of what could happen if both guys would drop the ego fest, if KSI would get his hand fixed, and we could get a deal done. This one is the least and most likely to happen because there is no barrier for entry here. KSI is not tied up with world championships, and it's not going to, quote-unquote, degrade the sport of boxing. It actually fits the mold of what everyone says both guys are. Maybe that's why Jake doesn't want to do it, because once he does it, he's back to being the influencer crossover boxer when he wants to be the pro boxer. But it's the one that needs to happen. It's the one that would have the most attention. It's the one that we've been wanting for, cue the Titanic meme, 6 fucking years, 7 years now. We're still talking about it. But it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But I do want to read the quotes here because I think they got quotes from both guys. Here's a first quote. "I don't think this one is super realistic anymore," Paul said. "We haven't heard anything from their side in a while." Damn. Just shit right on my chest there. But Nikisa Badarian thinks that the fight is too big to not happen and will eventually come together. Quote, "This fight has to happen," he says. "It will happen. I honestly believe it's going to be the best financial opportunity KSI will ever have in the sport of boxing." Just taking a shot right there at the end. With KSI no longer the CEO of Misfits Boxing, could he look to Paul for a big money event? The funniest thing about the mainstream crossover of covering Jake Paul is that you have to go along with the storylines that are happening in influencer boxing. Andreas said, with KSI no longer the CEO of Misfits, he could look to Paul for a big money event. Since KSI's not with Misfits anymore, maybe he'll just go over and fight on MVP, when that is in no way, shape, or form the reality of what's going on with Misfits right now. If you think that KSI is completely done with the company, you're out of your fucking mind. I also love the bouncing around here. Not the bouncing balding brother, that's Jake. But I love the bouncing around from first on the list. I don't know if this is in numerical order, but Terrence Crawford. If not Terrence, KSI. Oh, next up, Alex Pereira, the UFC light heavyweight champion. This makes sense. Paul told ESPN that there's still an appetite for him to face UFC's biggest stars and one of its top strikers, but McGregor is no longer on his list. Quote, "He's fried," Paul said of McGregor. "He's not going to fight again." As of right now, that's actually a pretty decent take. So now Paul is looking for an MMA fighter who will qualify as a worthy opponent with a significant drawing power. And the name that jumps off the page is Pereira. "I think that this is a perfect fight to further show Jake's dominance over the best of the best in MMA," Badarian said. "I think many would dismiss it and say Pereira would kill Jake Paul. But someone should ask UFC CEO Dana White and see what he says. If Dana White ever actually felt comfortable that one of his martial artists could beat Jake Paul, he would 100% endorse it, because no matter what Dana may say, there'd be nothing he would enjoy more than seeing Jake Paul lose." Okay, they're going back at Dana. This will never happen, right? So out of the 3 that have been named here, it goes most likely / least likely KSI. Terrence Crawford is probably more likely than Alex Pereira at this point. And Nikisa is kind of goading Dana White there to be like, if Dana really thought he'd win, he'd let him do it. Maybe. But at the same time, the UFC operates as an exclusive entity, and I guess they learned from the Conor McGregor-Floyd Mayweather thing that they do not like working with other people, and they don't like sharing profits, so that's probably out the window. Next, drum roll, please. I don't have a drum. There we go. Dom DeMarco, please. On the list is Anthony Joshua, the former unified heavyweight champion of the world. This one is probably the most realistic that could happen right now. There is no belt. There is no reason, but Eddie Hearn and Nikisa have worked together before. And if it makes dollars, it makes sense. There's no UFC holding him back. There is no belt in the way. There's no real reason they couldn't do it other than it's a terrible idea for Jake to get in there, in my opinion, and get physically manhandled by Anthony Joshua. But let's see what they had to say. Quote, "People are telling me to fight someone my own size. Okay, how about I fight someone who is bigger than me?" Paul said. His size makes him a tougher challenge than Crawford. That's the most dangerous fight for me right now. I agree. Darian has his concerns with Paul facing the power-punching heavyweight with a successful amateur pedigree, but he has learned to never doubt what Paul can accomplish. Quote, Joshua is unequivocally a fight that he wants, and I will do it for him, Darian said. Next, we have Tommy Fury, cruiserweight prospect. Okay, buddy. All right, Andreas has been watching too much freaking Love Island. Prospect, huh? Prospect on the freaking reunion season, dude. How about that? But this one would make a lot of sense, and this is the one I want to see more than anything else we've seen so far. As much as I would watch those fights, this is the fight that Jake needs to do. You got to run this one back, and you got to get that loss back. And again, it's the only guy that the critics have pointed to, and critics are right about this. He's younger than Jake, and he is a actual professional boxer. This is the fight. If you're ever going to get that respect back, which I don't know that he cares about, and it is risky because you lose to him twice, and the gig is up. But this is the one you got to do. Tommy's been out for a very long time, and he's not a super well-rounded fighter. He's pretty one-dimensional. His last performance didn't look great, so who knows? Jake, I think, has gotten better from this fight. Tommy hasn't really done anything after this fight. I mean, he beat KSI, but that was really it. But let's see some quotes here. This is the only fight that has nothing to do with the business of it, Paul said. No one cares about Tommy Fury, but I have to avenge that loss. It must happen at some point. I agree. And by the way, yes, this isn't business first, personal second, but they would do good business. They would, because as much as people don't care about Tommy Fury as an individual, they care about the fact that he beat Jake. So yes, the caring of Tommy Fury depends on if he's fighting Jake Paul or KSI, but he's worked his way into a point where you have to do it. You know what I mean? You have to go and fight him again. So it doesn't matter if you think it does good business or doesn't, you got to do it. And I think it will do good business because of that story between them. I think it would. Tommy on Instagram. Look at this. Whilst they train, or excuse me, I butchered it. Whilst they talk, I train. That dude is wide as fuck. How can someone in one instance look like, Tommy looks like an athlete if he stands still. But then he runs like he doesn't have legs. Or like he's just got out of the Forrest Gump braces. John Fury, Tommy's father and trainer, recently told IFL TV there were ongoing negotiations with Paul. Quote, well, we're trying to figure out what we can. We're looking at Jake Paul's rematch. We're trying to dot a few I's and cross a few T's. I've given him a number. Let's see if they can meet it. If they don't meet the number, fuck off. So there was John Fury, the head of the Fury fighting clan. Speaking on their rematch, potentially. I've given him the number. I want to know what the number is. Because apparently they'd offered him $8 million or something for the first Netflix opportunity, and they turned it down. So I don't know. Darian confirmed that talks with Fury have hit a snag due to financial demand. The next fucking sentence, dude. The next sentence. Quote, unfortunately, the only reason it hasn't happened is because of business, he said. When I say because of business, the demands that are being made by Fury's team, what they're asking for just doesn't make any rational sense to me. But for me, that's the fight I want the most for Jake. I agree. This one and the KSI one are both up to ego and money stuff. I would say more ego than it is money with KSI. But I think ego and money for Tommy Fury. Because Jake and KSI both got money. And they will continue to make money after that fight. And then Jake wants to go after the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Alexander Usyk. Okay, that was my Michael Buffer. Alexander Usyk. This is delusion. Quote, soon I'll close the door on boxing. This is from Alexander Usyk. And after that, I'll be waiting for you in the cage. Usyk wrote, quote, let's see if you got the balls or just a hunger for hype. Oh, yeah, I remember this. This was Alexander Usyk wanting to fight Jake in an MMA fight. While he is the sitting heavyweight champion of the world in boxing, does come from the Ukraine, right? Eastern Europe, they can wrestle. So he wants to fight Jake in an MMA fight. So that's interesting. And then Jake says, psych, he's on my MMA hit list, which also includes Nate Diaz. I just think it would be an insane event and something fun to do where I can get back to my wrestling roots and start kicking and working on some jiu-jitsu. This would be the least likely thing on this Christmas list of Jake's to happen. Because one, yes, Usyk only has a couple of years left, but Jake is talking about what he wants to do for the next couple of years. He's in boxing, doesn't train MMA. How long would it take him to train MMA? Is he going to be able to do both at once? I doubt it. All right, next up we have Saul Canelo Alvarez. 4-division world champ. This one has been one on Jake's radar for a long time. Jake and Canelo have gone back and forth. Again, I thought they were, a mini Wade away, a Vienna sausage away from having a signed, sealed, delivered deal and having that fight happen. But yeah, Jake versus Canelo. Let's see what they had to say about this. Paul and he's talking about Turkey. Al-Sheikh met in New York and ironed out many any differences they previously had, which gives the fight a glimmer of hope. Quote, I think Turkey is the man who can make it happen. Paul said, I'm open to it. Turkey's expressed some interest in it, and obviously Canelo had already signed up to fight me, so I think that all that's left to do is make it happen. Ryan Garcia. This would definitely be one of the exhibition fights, and honestly, I don't mind the Ryan Garcia fight as much as I didn't like the Tank fight, and I'll tell you why. Ryan Garcia, as of right now, even though he may be in the next fight, is not a sitting world champion. Ryan Garcia has a history with Jake Paul. Ryan Garcia has always blurred that line between influencer and pro boxer. Not to say that he's not a pro, because Ryan's high level, but I wouldn't mind it. Yeah, Tank already beat him. Well, Jake never fought Tank, so it doesn't matter. And if this is going to be the route they go with exhibition fights, this one would make more sense because Ryan is at least a little bigger than Gervonta is, right? He probably walking around 160, 165. When he was doing that manic crash out stuff, he was like 170. I think it's a more dangerous fight for Ryan than it would have been for Gervonta. I know that sounds weird, but we've seen Ryan get dropped a couple different times now. But I don't mind this if they're going to do the exhibition. All right, so here's Nikisa Badarian. Quote, that fight makes all the sense in the world, Badarian said. It could happen in 2026 or 2027. Ryan's a great boxer. He's naturally bigger than Tank Davis and is an unbelievable promoter. If there were any two fighters who understand promoting, getting fans interested in showing up and creating disruptive moments the world focuses on, it's them. I agree. If they're going to have this exhibition, and you look at why the Tank fight fell through, obviously Ryan's not going to have those issues, although he may have some of his own depending on what state of mind he's in. But Ryan is a central part of making big fights, just like Tank, but Ryan will at least try. One of the things that Tank has, and it's weird, is he has fans without really trying to have fans. But I think that would be a good idea. That would be, out of the list so far, the fights I would want to see the most, and I know it sounds weird because I was just shitting on the Tank Davis one, but this one I feel is a little different. Ryan, not a world champion yet. Again, a little bit bigger. Name value. I know he'll at least try to promote. The press conferences would be great, you know? But listen, I'm not mad at this list. In fact, it gives me more hope that we're going to see some blockbuster events with the Jake Paul fights coming up in 2026, 2027, 2028, because as of lately, it felt like there's a bit of a lack of direction for what Jake is doing in the sport. Having him set a list and check it twice tells me that they have a clear-cut direction in the way they want to move. And by the way, let's keep in mind that they still have a fight that they're supposed to do before the end of the year that we don't know who the opponent is. We have no idea who Jake wants to fight toward the end of this year, but they're still trying to have a fight in December. So I don't know what's going to happen. Who's he going to fight? Do you guys like this list? Well, just as I thought we were going to end the video, there's been an update on the Jake Paul and Nikisa Badarian possibility of making the KSI fight happen in the future. Hit the breaking news. KSI has responded. They can both go fuck themselves. They had their chance. Now I don't give a shit anymore. Fuck off and let me focus on YouTube and music. The man has spoken. What could have been a generational fight? It really could have been, dude. It really could have been. And I'm telling you, all the people that are sitting here going, fuck off. Let's just leave it. You're right, but it could have been great.